All right, so here we are, how to get our first job. Now, the reason I want to walk through how to get your first job is because in this business, getting your first job is like it's like popping your cherry. It's the first thing you got to do. Once you get your first job, then you just get your second, the third will be easier, the fourth, and over time you just duplicate that process again and again and again. And once you get totally maxed out duplicating this process where you're doing 10 estimates a week, booking 10,000 a week and producing 10,000 a week, you're done with phase one. It's time to start to hire other people to do the same process again, okay? So the nice thing about the painting business is very, very simple. And this is exactly the process that I followed to get my first few jobs. All right, so for me, when I first started, I started by making basic materials, okay? So I decided to do door-to-door. So the next thing you're gonna do is marketing, sales, hire the contractor, oversee the production, and collect the check and pay the contractor. This is a pretty straightforward process, all right? So I went ahead with marketing and I wanted to do door-to-door marketing because I was broke. Like I had no money. I just graduated college, I had a bunch of credit card debt, like a maxed out credit card. I had student loan debt, I had no money. I had a pretty expensive lifestyle just because that's kind of how I came through college, working at the job I had, but I didn't have that job anymore. So I needed money, like I was just broke. So I decided to go door-to-door marketing. So what I did is I made basic materials. So if you're not going to do any door-to-door marketing or any door-to-door canvassing, you don't need the flyer, but I need to make a flyer. So I made a flyer, and then you're going to need to make a client manual, and we'll attach these below. But I made a flyer. You need to make a client manual. That's like a basic binder that you take to the estimates that just makes you look a little more professional than the next guy because you have a binder. And it's got your company on it, it's got some information in it, it's testimonials, whatever. So we're going to give a sample of those below. So flyer, client manual, you're going to need a professional contract branded with your logo, and then you're going to need an estimate form, an estimate sheet. If you're going door-to-door marketing, you also need a lead sheet or just a blank piece of paper, honestly. All right, so we want to make some basic materials. That shouldn't cost you much money to get started. It cost me like $50 to make all my flyers and my contracts and print everything and do it at FedEx because I didn't have a printer that even worked at my house. So then what I did is then I chose door-to-door, but marketing to get your first estimates. So then you just need to start marketing. You need to start doing marketing. In the marketing module, there is free ways you can do marketing, okay? And then there's paid ways to do marketing. Now, I love free marketing because it's free, okay? So it gives you room for a learning curve. If you're paying for a bunch of marketing and you're not getting results, then you might run out of money and be like, crap, well, I give up on this business. And I'm not getting into business to give up. I'm getting into business to succeed. And if I can just go and knock on a door and with nothing, from nothing, with nothing, and no money, I can go knock on doors, or I can call roofers, or I can call real estate agents, or I can call property managers, or I can network through my friends and family, or I can go to Craigslist, or I can do and I could keep coming up with ideas, but like if I can go and generate marketing and generate people who want estimates from nothing with no money, and I can do that successfully, I know I'm set for life. And when you can do that, you can always keep doing that. And the better you get at like door-to-door marketing or creating relationships with people who can refer you work, the better you get at that, the better you can teach other people to get at that. And the free stuff requires time and effort. The paid stuff requires money, okay? And the paid stuff has a limit. Okay, if you hire a lead service, or you use a lead service, or you get your website going, or you do a direct mail campaign, there's a set amount of leads you can get from that. There's only so many leads Angie's List has. But when you can figure out and master door-to-door, you can always knock on doors. And that's how we control the volume of leads we get. Okay, so anyways, we'll get more into marketing in that. So getting your first job, so you need marketing materials, just the basic stuff. It's not just basic marketing materials, it's basic materials. Primarily sales materials, actually. So like I said, the client manual, estimate form, and a contract. Then you need to start marketing, go to the marketing module to decide how to do that. You need to start generating estimates. You need to follow the sales process to get your first job, okay? So now you start doing marketing, make sure you review the sales module so you follow that sales process. It's all scripted, it's really detailed. I'm gonna go into all of that. But follow the sales process to get your first job. And when you get your first job, you take a deposit. And we usually take a 25% deposit. In California, I think you are only allowed to take a 10% deposit. But I think everywhere else, you can take a 25% deposit. So that's what I do. So what I did is I made some basic materials. I went knocking on doors. 11 people, I went 6 hours, 11 people said, yeah, I'd like an estimate. I followed the sales process and set up 6 estimates. And I actually ended up booking 5 jobs. 3 of them were like really small touch-up jobs. And this was in like August. So most painting companies are booked up. I was giving people good deals. And 3 of the jobs were small touch-up jobs. One was like touching up windowsills, one was touching up windows, and one was touching up the back of a house. Stuff I could do with a ladder and a brush. So I literally borrowed a ladder from my friend. I went to the paint store and bought a brush and all the paint, and I went and did those 3 jobs myself. It was for $600, $900, and $900. So that's 18, that's $2,400. My materials was like $200 like total on all that. So I made about $2,200 in 3 days painting those houses myself. So the point is, on those $2,200, I took a little over $500 in deposit, about $550 in deposits. I used $200 of it to buy the materials, $300 in my pocket, and then so then the other 2 jobs I booked though were larger jobs. You know, one was a $2,700 job, the other was a $2,400 job, and so it was something like that. So I hired the contractor to produce that first job. So go to the production module to learn how to hire a contractor. I literally met a contractor at the house. I said, hey man, what can you do this for? He said, you know, and I showed him the contract, said this paint, this is the materials, this is the prep work we need to do, and here's the house. You know, can you do this? What can you do it for? Can I check your references? Cool. And he said he'd do it for $1,600. I bid it for $2,700. I said, you have a deal. I'd love to make $1,000 right now. And so then I just oversaw the job. So I checked in pretty much daily on that job just to make sure it went smooth. I wasn't overbearing. My contractor did a good job. And then at the end of the job, collect the check and pay the contractor. So at the end of the job, I collected a 75% check, the remaining balance, and then paid the contractor out whatever the amount was, whether it was 50 to 60%. And you know, I pocketed another 15 to 25% on the job. All right, so you want to do this one time through and just do it well. Now guess what? Is everything going to go perfectly smooth? Maybe, hopefully. And the more you follow the course and the modules, the better shot you have at it going smooth. But things aren't always going to go smooth. I can't tell you how many things I've screwed up and how many problems I've run into in the years. The thing is, that's not why you give up. That's just something to learn from. Okay? Because if every time you screw up or something doesn't go well, if you learn from it and make sure you don't make the same mistake again, you grow. And literally the next time it doesn't happen, the next time you make more money. You know, so if you get all this far and you get to here and then you hire a contractor and the production goes kind of shitty and you don't make much money, learn where you screwed up, refer back to the module, and go after it again. And the next time you won't make that same mistake. And you're never gonna be done making mistakes. Sometimes I still make some of the same mistakes again. Like I have to learn some of the same lessons the hard way again. And that's just part of business. So you just want to start to develop that relationship with screw ups and breakdowns and problems and failures. Develop the relationship with those things where you make them your friend. All right, where you start to learn from those things and make adjustments. All right, and if you follow the stuff in the modules, it's going to help eliminate and avoid so many of the problems and mistakes that I ran into when I did this. That's how I came up with the systems I came up with, because I screwed up so many times. I used employees for years, and there's a lot of nightmares with employees, which we'll talk about. But if you follow what's in the modules and you follow what I'm teaching, it's going to help you avoid many of the problems. And then some of the problems you run into, refer back to the module, and there's probably some places that you stepped over something or did something a little different. And if not, there's always something you can change or do different and work on. So this is the basic process to getting your first job. And once you get that down, once you get your first one, focus on getting the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And it starts slow, but business builds, all right? And it's just gonna get easier and easier and easier. And so that's about all I got for you on this video. Hope you found it valuable. So my advice is, you know, make those goals and start planning out all the things you need to do to start getting that first customer and getting that first job. And all you need is sell that first job, and you're in business and you're making money.